So this shirt is sewn, it's crocheted, it's a lot of different techniques because it wasn't always a shirt. I thrifted this women's maxi cardigan, which was like really tight around the shoulders and didn't really close all the way in the front, and turned it into this. So if you want to see how I made it, follow along and I will tell you. It took me 3 days. It's not perfect. I'm kind of rusty on my sewing. Y'all have to let me know at the end of this how you feel about this, how you would have done it differently, because I know that the way I did it is not the way that you should do it, but I am still happy with the results. So this is a long time coming because step one happened like 3 months ago. I went thrifting and found this cardigan for like $12. I deleted the footage where I show you the tag, so you're just gonna have to trust me on this. It was $12, and when I first bought it, I was thinking to myself, oh, it's knit. I could like unwind this thing and use the yarn for something else, right? But then I decided, actually, I really like this like stripey pattern to it. Also, the yarn is like not great quality yarn. It's like some random acrylic yarn, so not worth it. Maybe it was like a nice like mohair or alpaca or something. Regardless, I decided I can take this cardigan and I can sew panels off of it to make something new. And I knew I wanted to make a button-down shirt because I like to wear these like short sleeve button-down shirts pretty often when I go out especially. So what I did was I took an existing button-down shirt that I know fits me well, and I used it to measure out different panels that I would have to cut out of this to make a button-down shirt. I did that for the back piece, and then I assumed the front piece is just that, divided in half. It doesn't have to be perfect, it's just good enough for me. And then for the sleeves, I measured out the sleeves as well. And what I'm doing now is I'm gonna fold it in half-ish, and I'm gonna cut kind of approximating the pattern on both sides. So you can see here it doesn't really match directly, and that's fine. So what I do in that case is I kind of adjust the cut I'm making to kind of go halfway between both measurements. I'm gonna now turn this into another piece of cardboard where I leave a little seam allowance, like this. Cool. Ta-da! So there we go, this is my sleeve. The first thing I noticed when I put down the cardigan on the floor and then put the patterns on top of it is there was not enough fabric. But there's barely not enough fabric, right? It was enough for the back piece, and the front pieces seemed like they were gonna close in almost enough, but there was a little bit of fabric missing somewhere in the middle. I had two solutions here. One, I could hodgepodge together pieces from the scraps to kind of fill in that area. I don't think that would have looked well. The lines wouldn't have aligned with each other and it'd be like very obvious. And then I had another idea. So I bought this very, very fine cotton yarn a long time ago. And I decided that I could definitely just make a really thick row going down the middle here that crochets together this with this, and both does two things. One, it'll add buttonholes on one side, and two, it'll close the gap. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start crocheting. I think I'm gonna do double crochets or something to kind of match this pattern we have going on here, which is kind of like these little stripes. This color here kind of matches really well with these two stripes, and even with this one here, so I think this is it. So it's really fun for me actually when things don't work out as planned. Update. So I managed to do this really, really thin row of single crochets all along the edge, and I'm almost done doing that. And I'm using a tiny, tiny, tiny 2mm hook. And I now realize why I really need one of those ones with a grippy handle, because like this metal is so thin that it bends as I'm using it, and it makes it really, really hard to work with. But yeah, I'm just going into the same row of knit stitches and doing a single crochet. Right now I'm having to stick my hook into these really, really tiny machine knitted stitches. So I just realized I never took a before picture of this cardigan, and I've already taken it apart. It's too late, but anyways, I wanted to show y'all that I have completed the first row of single crochets and double crochets. It drapes really well, the color matches, and overall, I'm very happy with it. I won't give y'all another update until I've done like a decent amount. For the sleeves, I actually decided to take these long sleeves and then cut them kind of hot dog style. You know what I mean. And I was so lucky, by like a millimeter, I was able to put my sleeve pattern on top. Ooh, it is enough. Just barely. Long sleeve can be turned into a short sleeve. And it did two things for me that I really like. One is allowed me to save the rest of the fabric for the rest of the shirt, so just gave me more bang for my buck. And two, it allowed me to change the direction of the sleeves from having lines going in this direction to having lines going in this direction, which matches more with the rest of the shirt. So that aspect of it, I'm very happy about. At this point, I went to bed. I'm here hanging out with Pooch. Poogina! On the bed, and I just want to show you my progress. I'm about to go to work, actually. I have a row of double crochets, single crochets, then double crochets, then treble crochets, because this one is going to be where the buttons go in. And those treble crochets will leave just enough space for me to stick a button in there. And on the other side, I'm done. I did a bunch of double crochets, and towards the top, kind of did a little bit of a taper, so it's kind of angled. And the way I did that is just by doing a couple decreases right at the end. I'm gonna bring this with me to work. I just might work on it, and if I do, I'll show you. Hey folks, so I'm back from work. Let me show y'all what I've been up to. So there's this whole new stripe here, and on the other side, whole new stripe. They're completed. So actually, I think the first thing I'm gonna do is just sew on the shoulders for this. So I sewed everything just with a regular sewing machine. I think having a serger, especially for something that's a knit fabric like this, that's very prone to falling apart and needs a lot of stretch, would have been so much better. So if you have a serger, do that. But you know, those are expensive. Also, if you like this thrift flip sort of content on top of the regular crochet content that I make and knitting content that I am planning on making very soon, give me a like so that I know that this type of stuff is interesting to you. Put the sleeves up here, shirt is up here. All right, y'all, let's get to sewing. Yay! Okay, so that's a sleeve. Does that make sense? Yeah, that totally makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna sew down these edges first, just so it doesn't come apart. I finished the first sleeve. The rim is clean. I like double folded it onto itself. Done. You know, white string might have not been the right choice. If it wasn't 10:30 and I was in the mood for it, I'd go to a shop and get some beige or brown. That's not where we're at, right? And only I have to wear this one. So I'll just tell you guys that if you make something like this, get string that actually matches. And you can see that I went over those edges a couple times. The inner seam also looks fine. I tucked in those raw edges, and so that way it looks a little bit more neat. Another sanity check is I put the sleeves right on top of each other, and they're the same size. So that is another great sign that I did a good job. So last thing I'm gonna do before I go to bed is I'm gonna actually sew these shoulder seams together along this green line here, which I marked earlier when I made my pattern. And I just wanna make sure that after I sew this side and the other side together and I put this on, that it fits nice. So I'll do a little fit check. Okay, that was easy. Now the other side. Okay, cool. Let's put this on immediately, because I'm super curious. Here it is. So you can see here, this is what the middle section is supposed to look like. I noticed it because everything else is acrylic and this part here is cotton, that it actually is like it drapes a little bit differently. But yeah, it does fit, right? I think when I put the buttons in and actually have it closed, it'll be a little easier to tell. Let's actually test out what a sleeve would look like. So there's one, and there's the other. I'm trying to just really like roughly test this. Yeah, I think it's gonna look good. So I'm really, really close to finishing. I might do the sleeves. I think I'm gonna crochet on the same way that I crocheted this band here, a collar, just because it's so much harder and I don't have any more fabric left to just make that out of like a pre-knit fabric. And I might cut the bottom a little shorter so it's got less of that cardigan feel and it has more of that button-down shirt look to it. I think Pooj and I agree that we've done enough work for today. Just doing this was so much work. So I'm gonna work on this tomorrow. What do you think? She's not in a vocal mood today. Okay, see y'all tomorrow. All right, good morning y'all. So it is Friday. Today I'm gonna fix them to actually be nicer looking. The way I'm gonna do that is I'm just gonna fold it in on itself and cut off the excess. So I'm just gonna do that right now. So, I've now stuck together one of the sleeves, and I think before I do the second one, I should definitely take a moment to actually put this on. So, wow, look at that sleeve. I think a lot of the garments I've been making, the sleeves are always the hardest part, but like when I'm actually sewing, it's so much easier than crocheting, because with crochet, you're trying to take a rectangle and make a sleeve shape, or you're trying to take a triangle and make a sleeve shape. Whereas sleeves are like a little curve. Another thing is that certain fabrics can be a little tighter, and if I do exactly the same like sleeve shape as I'm doing here on a crocheted garment, it might actually not allow me to like move my arms up and down. Anyways, all that to say, happy with the sleeve. I'm happy I'm back to doing a sewing project, and I'm gonna do the other one. Okay. All right, sleeve number 2. So for my sleeves, the outside piece is inside out and the sleeve is right side in. And I literally just kind of eyeball it into place. Really, if you want to do this, guys, put a pin in it. Like, put a pin on the top so you know that the top is on the top of the sleeve, and then the bottom to the bottom of the sleeve. This whole time I wasn't even stitching. No! Okay. My bobbin had run out and I didn't even notice. Okay, new bobbin. Let's put her in. No, I have to freaking align these. Okay. Take 2. Okay. I got it. Cool. So I just put this on and I'm about to check if the sleeves are even. And I'm happy to report that they are even and they look good. Yeah, wow, Romi, good job. Maybe I'll bring it to work and do it because it shouldn't actually be that hard. At this point, I still don't have a collar on my shirt. And initially I was thinking I was gonna make a collar out of this fabric, but this fabric is really flimsy, knitted stuff, and I didn't have a lot of it. So I decided with micro crochet, I would just continue that micro crochet up here, this time leaving a little bit of space from the front so it actually matches what a button down should look like. And that's what I did. So I took it to work, I did a lot of that collar at work. And micro crochet can be kind of finicky, but at this point I was used to it and I knew what I was doing. It came together pretty quickly. So I'm pretty happy with the collar. It was still a little flimsy, but I figured that out later. Hey folks, I'm back from work. I still haven't put the buttons on. I'm about to do that. But this is the collar I made. As you can see, it's a little wrinkly, as is a lot of the other parts of the cotton, but it fits really nicely, I think, with the colors, and it looks good all around, and it's the right length. And it matches well with this middle piece here. I think we're ready for the buttons-ish. Because if I pan y'all down, this shirt is really long. Thinking it's time to go back to the actual pattern and make this, make this curve happen. So as you can see, we have a little bit of excess right down here on the bottom. So, all right, it's sewing time. Fold once, fold twice, stick it in. Okay, it's done. Should I go over it one more time to make it look nice and even? Yeah, let's do that. Kinda wish I was filming that. The needle just exploded. You see that little chunk of needle? Let's turn this off. Get rid of that needle right now. Oh, of course it fell right into the machine, okay. It's ready? Okay, coming. I'm fixing my sewing machine real quick and I'll be there. There we go. Haha. Yay! Get some new needles. Everything back inside. Yay. So now I have a shirt where the shoulders fit, everything fits, everything looks good. What's left, right? Now we have to put the buttons on. I'm using the same buttons as I used last time just because that's what I got, but also I really like the size of them. It fits really well into those treble crochets that I made. They're looking really good, except I definitely need to iron this because these keep like flopping up and the bottom does too. Oh, and let me show you the most important issue. Can you see it? One side is like way longer than the other. And I measured it and it actually isn't, there's nothing that should be making this any longer than the other side. It's just that I did so many more stitches on this side than I did on this side that it caused the fabric to stretch. So I'm just gonna fold it in and sew it. Okay, so I think it's all done, so I'm gonna put it on. See that? That made a huge difference for the collar. So the collar is put. Thank you, clothing iron. And so that is how I made this shirt. So tell me, what would you have done differently? How do you like it? Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys.